Good morning to everyone here in our sanctuary and in our Zoom room. Thank you for joining us today at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for the springing, fresh from the world. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where his feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the world.
Welcome, please, Kent Lemberg, August Hazel. Thank you, thank you.
As you can see, we have a visitor. We have our very own Easter Bunny today. Ah! And he's here to spread joy, but he can't stay because he's going to be spreading joy other places to other girls and boys. Yay! I tell you, we've got it all here, don't we? My name's Marlee Milner, and I'm an advocate of everything we do here. Everything. And it's so wonderful to see all you joyful people here. I mean, we got to get a Zoom picture of all of you because it's just lovely. Your smiles light up the mesa. As we are lighting up the mesa, each one of us has a part in that. So, Unity in the Rockies is an inclusive community. We welcome all people, races, gender identities, and relational orientations. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And let's start with our mission. Let's say that together. Hold on just 1 second. There we go. Okay, let's go. We are an inclusive spiritual community where we recognize and express our oneness with our Creator and all creation. And our vision? We are celebrating the Christ spirit within all people and with a thriving spirit of community and oneness. Shall we be a leading light through the Pikes Peak region and the world? One of these days we'll get it all together, and I'm the one that's off. I apologize for that. Today's Easter. Did anybody know that? Yeah. So I'm going to just keep the announcements very short today. The first one is to remind you of the Labyrinth as a spiritual tool. Dr. David Goldberg is doing this upcoming class. And you can register through the e-blast or email Kayla at unityoftherockies.org. It's going to be starting April 13th, and it will be 4 Thursdays. It will end May 4th, and I believe that's going to end up with an in-person gathering. So let's get that on our calendars, because as you know, one of our requests, one of our intentions is to get a labyrinth. And so we're going to learn all about it. We're going to have some deep understanding of it. And I think it's just beautiful. So I encourage you to sign up sooner than later because it's coming soon. Also, I want to remind you of meditation. We might be changing the time on that, but right now it's at 9 o'clock. And we're inviting people who want to lead the meditation to sign up on the bulletin board. So you can come in and do your own meditation, whatever you'd like to do. This is an attempt to be totally inclusive because I know we all have special experiences in our spiritual journey. I also have one more thing to say. Please don't rush to the fellowship hall. We want to get a group picture up on stage, if that's okay, just because we all want to be on camera. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. Happy Easter, and remember, we are the light on the mesa.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Good morning. Happy Easter. My name is Charlotte Wilson, and I'm one of your prayer chaplains. In fact, I'm a new prayer chaplain. I'm reading from Unity's Daily Word magazine today for Sunday, April 9th, Easter Sunday. I also remind you that I will be available, as well as Forrest, after the service down here in front to pray with you or celebrate with you as you choose. So please join us. Easter Sunday, April 9th. I am resurrected through the power of the Christ. On this glorious Easter day, I am resurrected and brimming with new life. The stones of defeat and limitation have rolled away. I am free and unlimited. Throughout my Lenten journey, I heeded the call from my soul to recognize the stones in my consciousness and awaken to the infinite potential within me. I can now rejoice in the shimmering light of awareness with an open, joyful heart. My faith is strong, and I am ablaze with the radiance of spirit. I welcome eternal indwelling life into my mind and heart. Hope never dies. Jesus transcended death and demonstrated life is eternal. With a grateful heart, I rise up and claim new life. I am resurrected through the indwelling Christ. It's a new dawn, a new day, a new beginning. I have risen. I am the resurrection and the life. John 11:25.
So not only have Kent and August chose to join us today as our guest musicians, it may not be obviously apparent, August is still in high school. You have a brilliant career, young man. Thank you for choosing to be with us today. And thank you to your dad for joining us as well. And Kent Lemberg and I have known each other years. Thank you, Richard. Since before our time in Up With People. And he graduated with a degree in vocal performance and music from the University of Colorado. He is now an accompanist in his third, fourth, fifth career at a high school in Lakewood, and we are just so blessed to both of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for those of you who are with us for the first time, welcome. For those of you who are joining us as part of our C&E crowd, our Christmas and Easter crowd, thank you for your semi-annual appearance. You are always welcome here. And for those who gently invited you to join them, thank you all for being here. We are grateful for your presence, seriously, and we do appreciate you. And if you're recognizing the hats and if you're recognizing the neckties, it's beautiful and it's perfect, and it's not necessarily how we show up every week. Our beloved Richard created this fundraiser quite some time ago, so we have had people pledging for every tie, whether a necktie or a bow tie, and for every hat. Or bonnet, or whatever your preferred words are there. So today, my friends, for all who have pledged, we have 39 hats and 28 ties. So I don't know where the Easter Bunny went, but I think he pledged $1 per. So get out your checkbook, pal. That's $67. So we are grateful to Richard for your continuing participation. And what I know is that my God has a sense of humor. So thank you for choosing to be here. Thank you to join in the spirit of fun, in the spirit of love. And still so much going on. April continues to be Volunteer Recognition Month. So much going on with so many beloveds in so many areas of our church. Just because I'm still the new guy. If you have ever volunteered in any capacity at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies, would you please stand? Wow. Thank you and bless you. You are the reason we are able to do what we do. So in that spirit, then, we are continuing next week where we will have two folks joining us. Their participation with us is with the Gratitude Cruise that Rick and I are hosting in January. So we have Dr. Temple Hayes and Ari Boris, who is the cruise concierge. So if any of you are still interested in hearing more, learning more about the cruise, right after the service next week, we'll have that conversation. And then right after that, we'll have an informal conversation about the feedback of our new service. What do you like? What do you think we can still adjust? We are open to your thoughts, to your ideas. This is your community and your church. And then the following week on April 23rd is our volunteer fair. So you can talk to any one of those people who just stood up and ask them what their volunteer experience is like and how you might get plugged in. And then on April 30th, we are blessed to have 5 Sundays this month. On Sunday, April 30th, Connie Castro will be back with us for the day. So for those who like to plan ahead, April is brilliant and exciting. And since we're coming up on tax day, for those of you who are offering gifts and tithes on your tax returns, we continue to be very grateful. So thank you for your generosity and support of your spiritual community. So our monthly theme is the power of vulnerability. And what does that look like to us on our human experience? And our theme today is vulnerability through the cracks and the canyons, or vulnerability through the eyes and through the teaching of Jesus Christ. So last week, we looked at Jesus' triumphant return to Jerusalem. And the cheers and everybody so welcoming and the palm fronds and that quickly turned to jeers and that quickly turned to tears. And today we are back in the place of celebration, remembering that it was Jesus' physical death and his resurrection that allowed us, to get to this point in our service today. So what gets in the way of vulnerability? Fear, uncertainty, comparison. Do you sense that Jesus experienced any of that as he was returning to Jerusalem, knowing what awaited him? Do you think he experienced any fear? Do you think he experienced any uncertainty? Do you think he experienced any comparison? What if he were to agree with the Pharisees? What if he were to agree to the people that he was doing battle with? How might things have turned out different for him, the human, and for us as sentient beings on the planet? So let's look at those areas not as something for our human selves to push against, but rather as something for our human selves to embrace as we enter into this time of thoughtfulness. They can offer a guide for our path toward greater awareness of ourselves and for others. It has been written, there is something within you beyond all doubt and fear, something which has never been limited by your acts or destroyed by your feeling. This is the only something that can make you whole. So that is what we know. The work begins within. Our unity teaching helps us understand that there is something within us that has never been affected by fear, uncertainty, or comparison. Ours is the invitation to see that still small light within that has never been hurt, that has never been challenged, that has never been threatened. This is the home of spirit, that individualized expression that resides within all of us. This space is the very birthplace of vulnerability and authenticity. It is that gentle, creative urge that propels us forward into deeper and deeper expressions of ourselves. This space makes room for fear and uncertainty and meets it with the very essence of the divine. So I would pose to you that the job of Jesus, the job perhaps of any clergy person, including myself, is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. Isn't that how Jesus showed up? He was full of compassion. He was blessing people. He was raising people from the dead. He was comforting the afflicted. And the Pharisees and the Romans, who weren't on the same page, who weren't in alignment with Jesus, he was afflicting the comfortable. So what is in that for us, my friends? As we explore vulnerability through the lens and the teachings of Jesus, you may be aware the Bible was brought together over a period of 1,500 years in 66 installments by 40 authors in 3 languages. What could go wrong by way of interpretation? And that story we tell today is as old as time. So last week, again, we talked about Jesus' triumphant return to Jerusalem, and this week we're talking about the resurrection and what happened during this past week, what happened during Holy Week. Let us remember that crucifixion precedes resurrection. We can't have one without the other. Each crucifixion calls us to be more fully who we are, fully free, and fully powerful. Jesus' last words were, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Contextually, we also hear, "Take my body if you must. You cannot take life away from me, nor can it be taken away from you." So after the crucifixion, we have the resurrection. Metaphysically, resurrection is about rising above our human self, the potential to the actual in the minds of humanity. It's about raising our consciousness. So let's take a look at those three things that may be barriers for us. Fear can sometimes be a powerful barrier to vulnerability. It can seem like a vast canyon outstretched as far as the eye can see. Fear may be experienced in different ways for different people. Fear of what others think, fear of trying something new, fear of rejection, or fear of not being good enough. Shame and blame may be some of the places we go to face such fear. For some, individual and societal frameworks or constructs may contribute to fear and impact vulnerability. Fear, although not always pleasant, can be a helpful emotion in that it can shed light on the areas of our lives that require a closer look. And if we move into that second element then, uncertainty, to be vulnerable is to become friends with uncertainty. Jesus knew what his fate was. He may not have known what was going to happen every moment and how it was going to unfold, and thus the uncertainty. We love certainty. Our human selves love to plan. And often the hint of uncertainty stops us in our tracks. A whole lot of us like to plan, and we like to have a plan B, and we'd like to have a backup plan for our plan B, whether those are spreadsheets or just in our thoughts. And that can sometimes go on endlessly and hamper our willingness to take risks and to be vulnerable. And what we know to be true is that uncertainty is a part of the wholeness of life itself. We can choose to see it as a barrier to opening ourselves up, or we can meet it with curiosity and then move in ways that are in alignment with the truth of who we are. We then may find that the cracks in the uncertainty bring or are paved with awareness of the one thing that is behind all things. This awareness opens the door and invites us to step through. That third element then, comparison. Teddy Roosevelt, after whom the teddy bear is named, said, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Comparison can also impact our ability to be vulnerable, to be willing to take risks, to be willing to step out and reveal our true selves. The instinct is often to take stock of all the people in the room, maybe not today, to take stock of all the people in the room and then gauge our self-expression based on how we rank ourselves in comparison to everybody else. It doesn't take much to see how this can greatly impact our willingness or our ability to safely show up just as we are. We may want to blend in or not to be too much, whatever that may mean in any given situation. This instinct or unconditioned response may have us holding back or playing small. The opportunity exists to look at the areas where we are comparing ourselves to others, where we are playing small, and begin to explore how we can use vulnerability to harness the magnificence of our authentic selves. So the invitation this day, my friends, just as Jesus rose from the tomb, expressing his extraordinary, unlimited self, at least in the human form, that is the invitation to you on this day, in human form, to take up more space on the planet. Wear a bigger hat. Create a larger presence. Wear 6 neckties. Thank you, Don. And seriously, you are the divine in expression. You are a spiritual being having this glorious human experience. Don't dim your light for anybody. Your playing small is not going to help your grandkids feel better. Your playing small is not going to help your siblings like you better. Your playing small and dampening the glorious expression that you are certainly isn't going to serve you, and it's not going to serve anybody around you. So on this day of the stone being moved from the tomb, of letting the light in, embrace that, my friends. Did you hear what our beautiful musicians were playing and singing for us? Morning has broken. It is well with my soul. Those are our affirmations. You may even think we had a little bit of communication before this morning, right? So that is for you. Those are the messages that are here for you. Choosing to be vulnerable enough to express our authentic selves is not always easy, as Jesus found. However, the choice becomes whether or not we allow ourselves to be limited by the experiences that attempt to stand in the way of showing up as our true selves, or to be willing to look them in the face and to move anyway. I love when Rumi instructs us, move, but don't move the way fear makes you move. Or perhaps in a bit more positive language, in a bit more current language, my dear friend and tremendous musician, Michael Gott, move in the direction of your dreams. Are you still dreaming? Do you not remember your dreams? Maybe that's the invitation this day. What is lighting your soul? When August isn't playing the cello, he's on the mountain bike team. That's awesome. You can see the joy emanating from this glorious soul. What brings you joy? What have you put away because the world has said, you're too old, you're too big, you're too small, you're too this, you're not enough that. Bless it and let it go. You are the co-creator of your experience with the divine, whatever your interpretation of what that higher power looks like, feels like, sounds like, and likes to be called. So you get to co-create that existence. Stop arguing for your own limitations. Let it go. Do what you want to do what you need to do what you are called to do. That is the goodness and the glory of this community. We are here to support you every step of the way. The ability to be vulnerable and authentic is often seen through the lens of privilege. We are keenly aware. There are many within our world for whom showing up authentically is challenging and sometimes unsafe. This is the work, my friends. This is the call to action. Understanding that fear, uncertainty, and even comparison are not the things to be avoided, ignored, suppressed. Instead, let their presence be a beacon for us. Let it be a guiding light, a microscope in which to view our lives, our communities, our world. Let us choose to be conscious. It is in this close-up view that we can begin the work of removing the barriers to vulnerability in truly living a life out loud. In his book, Keep a True Lent, our founder, Charles Fillmore, explained, the resurrection takes place in us every time we rise to Jesus's realization of the perpetual indwelling life that is connected to us to the Father. A new flood of life comes to all who open their minds and their bodies to the living Word of God. That is mystical Christianity. That is Christianity plus. That is the space that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore were in when they were getting the download of this work that they wanted to share with the world. So, my friends, I offer you the Easter message. Living in an awareness of the Christ potential shouldn't be limited to just one day. The transformational power that is inside all of us is cause for a lifetime of celebrations. Easter is not simply a play to be acted out. It is, in essence, an experience that must be vulnerably lived every day. I've shared with you from time to time, and I know Kent has many stories as well, some stories from my time on the road and Up With People. And however very many years ago, I happened to be doing advance work for the group in Finland, in Turku, Finland. And we were there over Easter. And Up With People as an organization hadn't been in Finland for 10 or 15 or 20 years. So it was basically opening up a new country for the musical group. And they didn't know about Up With People. They weren't particularly interested. They thought it was kind of fun. But the good news is, as a member of one of the advance teams, I was there over Easter. And we got to do this Easter Eve midnight service, reenacting, leaving the church, walking around the church, coming back to the front door, knocking on the door, just as the Christ experience and entering the tomb. And so I invite you, what is your ritual this Easter? Maybe it's Peter Cottontail and Easter bunnies and colored eggs. And that's good, and that's perfect, right? Because I know the one power, the one presence that I choose to call God is in, around, and through it all. So God is in the chocolate, thankfully. I know that at the core of my being. And God is in the spirituality and in the recognition and in the honoring and taking the personal message of Jesus and saying, what is in this for me, right? Why am I here? What can I choose to do differently if I do? So I offer you then two things that the Easter story, two of many that the Easter story offers us. The first is steady nerves. Slow and steady win the day. As the story of the opening of the tomb starts, do not be afraid, right? Do not be afraid. And second, as spiritual beings having this human experience, awestruck minds. What if we're prepared for miracles? What if we expect miracles? What if we expect things that we have never seen before? Now, I don't know the how. I don't know exactly how we do that, right? I don't know if you have heard the story that I have heard, that when Columbus was sailing in 1492, the Native Americans who were here couldn't physically or physiologically see the ship because they'd never seen anything that big before. They didn't have context. They didn't have a frame of reference. And so I don't know how that went. Your imagination is as good as mine. What if the ship landed and Columbus and his troops are getting off the ship and these natives are seeing these people who look very different from them, not even sure if they're people, with the masks and the armor? Nobody's right, nobody's wrong. There was just no mental equivalent. My invitation is, what if we're prepared to look beyond our mental equivalent? What if I say, I am grounded in principle, I am open at the top to welcome whatever might be new, whatever might be interesting, whatever I need to know on my soul journey. And thank you, God, in advance. And I don't know what it looks like, and I don't know what it feels like. And I say, Yahoo, let's do this, right? Be not afraid. Let us embrace that next part of our journey, whatever that looks like and whatever that feels like. And I just also wanted to share with you that there was a minister who encouraged his congregation on the day after Easter. He said that that should be Joke Monday. He encouraged stories and shenanigans of all types. His thinking was that God played the ultimate joke on the devil when the latter found the tomb empty. Now, everybody's invited into that space except Jean. Jean, you are funny enough, you are clever enough, there are enough shenanigans, and we bless you in your humorous expression. But that is what I know, my friends. I know the God of my understanding does have a sense of humor, does appreciate lightness and happiness and peace and joy. Let us remember the forgiveness and grace of the empty tomb. May the emptiness of the tomb fill our hearts. This is a day of joy. He is risen. Please rise as you are able and join me in prayer. Thank you for the coming together of this community, the gentle spirits, the love, the laughter, the joy, the thoughtfulness, the consciousness. How good it is to be together, to share, to explore with family of choice, with the family of our choosing. And on this day, then, as we recognize the resurrection of Jesus Christ, we also recognize and honor the Christ consciousness in all. It is God who gave us all the senses of thought, of vision, of touch, of smell. And so let us choose to engage those in furtherance of those God qualities of peace, of joy, of connection, and ultimately of love. For the greatest of these is love. I let go, I release, I allow it to be. We anchor this prayer together by saying, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. Thank you. Please be seated. Kent and August, I would invite you back up as we get a little organized here. You both can settle in. And I would invite our congregation into that time of conscious giving, where we are so grateful for your gifts, for your offerings, enabling us to continue to do the work that we do in the world, to continue to share our message of oneness, to continue to share our message of connectivity, and to continue to share our message of love. If you would join me now in our affirmation of abundance. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.
This is the air I breathe. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken to me, and I'm desperate for you, and I'm lost without you. This is my daily bread. This is the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me. This is my daily bread. This is my daily bread. Your very word spoken to me, and I'm desperate for you, and I'm lost without you, and I'm desperate for you, and I'm lost without you. I'm lost without you. I'm lost without you. I'm desperate for you. I'm desperate for you. I'm desperate for you.
Kent Lemberg, August Hazel. Take a bow, my friends. And so on this day, we are so grateful for the gratitude. We are grateful for the many gifts shared with this community in time, in talent, and treasure. We are blessed beyond measure. All is good. God is magnificent. And so it is. And as we move toward the end of this part of our Easter ritual, please remember your invitation from our beloved Marley. If you'd like to join in a congregational photo, hats, no hats, ties, no ties, bunny suits, no bunny suits, please join us. We'd love to include anybody who wants to be included. And one more reminder that our Labyrinth class starts this Thursday. The first 3 Thursdays are online. The fourth one will be on the first Thursday in May, leading up to our World Labyrinth Day walk on Saturday, May 6th. This has been a glorious service. And what if we hold our Easter service next year at sunrise on our beautiful outdoor labyrinth? Just a thought. If you would please join me in our prayer and blessing of the children of this community and of the planet. Let us rub our hands together to get that energy flowing. And we offer this to the children of the world. You are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine beings that you are. And so, my friends, after our prayer for protection, I would invite you to please take our beloved Charlotte and Forrest up on their consideration to be with you in prayer, whether you're in a moment of celebration or a moment of challenge. That is why we're here. We support and we love each other. And speaking of Charlotte, and Forrest, as a matter of fact, two of our brand new chaplains, are they not doing amazing work? And if you would prefer written prayer requests, we have a table set up in the foyer where you can write that prayer request, and our chaplains and I will be praying on that with you and for you this week. And if you'd like to continue the topic of conversation that we talked about today, vulnerability, there are questions on the tables in the fellowship hall for your perusal should you decide to join into that. As we join into the peace song, please stay in your rows, join hands if you choose. And that does it for the announcements, I think. Would you join me, please, on this beautiful Easter Sunday in our prayer for protection? The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Go in power. Go in peace.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Do you have the church as your pin?